And they brought us whole binders full of women.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what.
10,000 bucks? $10,000 bet? I like being able to fire people who provide services to me. What's the effective rate I've been paying? Well, it's probably closer to the 15% rate than anything, because my last 10 years, my income comes overwhelmingly from investments made in the past.
Do you suggest that anyone who questions the policies and practices of Wall Street and financial institutions, anyone who has questions about the distribution of wealth and power in this country, is envious? Is it about jealousy, or is it about fairness?
I think it's about envy. I think it's about class warfare. I'm not concerned about the very poor. We have a safety net there. If it needs repair, I'll fix it.
Don't try and stop the foreclosure process. Let it run its course and hit the bottom.
Corporations are people, my friend. Being in Donald Trump's magnificent hotel and having his endorsement is a delight. I'm so honored and pleased to have his endorsement.
If we Republicans choose Donald Trump as our nominee, the prospects for a safe and prosperous future are greatly diminished. So even though Donald Trump has offered very few specific economic plans, what little he has said is enough to know that he would be very bad for American workers and for American families.
Donald Trump has shown an extraordinary ability to understand how our economy works, to create jobs for the American people. He's done it here in Nevada. He's done it across the country.
But you say, wait. Isn't he a huge business success? Doesn't he know what he's talking about? No, he isn't. And no, he doesn't.
I spent my life in the private sector, not quite as successful as this guy, but successful nonetheless.
And did you see how great, he said, oh, I'm not big like him, he's the great businessman, all that stuff. Well, since then, I've done much better. And now he tries to demean, but we'll talk about that in a second.
And whatever happened to Trump Airlines? How about Trump University?
The school had 98% approval rating. But you had an attorney that felt, oh, maybe I can sue Trump and get something. The school had a 98%. In other words, 98% of the people that took the courses, we signed report cards. That's why you can't settle a case like that. You put somebody up in the stand. Did you write this? The most beautiful thing. They did a commercial, they took it down, where two people were going and saying negative, and then we showed them the statement that they wrote. They had to take the commercial down. Because 98% of the people that took the courses said really wonderful things about it. The other thing's got an A from the Better Business Bureau. So just so you understand, 98% approval rating, an A from the Better Business Bureau. We're going to win the case, mark it down. We're going to win the case. It'll be forever because it takes forever. But that's the way it is. I don't like to settle cases. I don't like to do it.
And then there's Trump Magazine, and Trump Vodka, and Trump Steaks, and Trump Mortgage.
They want little tiny things, wherever you can find. They don't want to talk about 92-story buildings all over the place. They don't want to talk about the Bank of America building in San Francisco, 1290 Avenue of the Americas. They don't want to talk about the West Side Railroad Yards, where I built a city on the west side of Manhattan, a tremendous city on the west side of Manhattan. They don't want to talk about 40 Wall Street and all the buildings. They want to talk about water, which I still have. I supply all my clubs. I have a water company. They want to talk about a magazine, and I have a magazine. It goes to all my clubs. You're talking about a beef, and you talked about a water company. Numerous of those things I have, the magazine, other things. And you're right, he didn't mention any of the many, many, many buildings. We're building now over 120 jobs, and in the works, over 120 jobs all over the world. We just got Turnberry in Scotland, one of the great places of the world. Doral, where they're having the tournament today, by the way. They're having the World Golf Championship today.
A business genius he is not. Now, not every policy that Donald Trump has floated is bad, of course. He wants to repeal and replace Obamacare. He wants to bring jobs home from China and Japan. But his prescriptions to do those things are flimsy at best.
He understands that our economy is facing threats from abroad. He's one of the few people who stood up and said, you know what, China has been cheating. They've taken jobs from Americans. They haven't played fair. We have to have a president who will stand up to cheaters. We believe in free trade and free enterprise, but we don't believe in allowing people to cheat day in and day out.
You can't punish business into doing what you want. Successfully bringing jobs home requires serious policy and reforms that make America the place businesses want to come, want to plant, and want to grow.
I heard that Mitt Romney made a fairly long speech. And I mean, honestly, I thought I'll just address it quickly because it's irrelevant. Look, Mitt is a failed candidate. He failed. He failed horribly. The third... He failed badly. But I backed Mitt Romney. I backed him. You can see how loyal he is. He was begging for my endorsement. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees. He was begging. He was begging me. So you help somebody, and then he turns.
Don't be small, Mitt. Remember our history. Remember when we were fed up with a monarchy? Be careful. Be very, very careful. Do not disrespect the man who makes sense to us, because when you disrespect him, you disrespect the will of the American people. And that's not a good place to be.